Good evening. How are you?
Welcome to the news.
Jeanette Nash has just joined the members area.
I've got a welcome.
Stay to the end. We will sing to you.
Yeah.
If Ashley is here, I'm sorry I missed your birthday yesterday. I'm going to sing you happy birthday again. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Ashley. Happy birthday to you. Mark, do you think I'm a bit low in the camera?
Yeah, I think you need a cushion. You're a bit
Do you want to see my pyjamas, everyone? I've been showing
She's a bit of a short
people on
ass,
Instagram.
Nads.
Right, who likes Snoopy? I love Snoopy. Peanuts.
Peanuts.
I got these from Next online.
I used to like
They're
Peanuts.
my new Snoopy pyjamas.
Do you remember in the supplements there used to be a 3-boxed cartoon of them each week? Charlie Brown. Do you remember?
Yeah.
They started as just a little cartoon, didn't they, in a magazine?
Yeah.
Did they? I don't know if they did.
Just love it.
Well, I used to have a Snoopy watch. We've talked about this before, with a tennis racket that went all the way around.
Yeah, and I had the same watch.
Isn't that funny? We lived on the same street.
It was always
And
meant to
we've
be.
always worn the same
We had
bra.
the same Snoopy watch.
And we wore the same bra. I haven't seen that the embargo has been lifted for the first reviews of Licorice Pizza, but I am rather delighted that they have. So, yeah, no, I hear
What's Licorice Pizza?
It's the film you watched the trailer reaction to, which we really like the look of, set in LA. About
About
the young
what?
boy who's an actor, Philip Seymour Hoffman's son.
Oh, yeah.
Looks really good. Tina Davis, Evening Mark and Nadia loving the Cornish vlogs. Cornwall vlog number 4 landed tonight.
Still can't believe we're only in Cornwall of our lives.
Yeah, which is really exciting and really fun. You're enjoying it, aren't you? The comments coming through, they feel like they're going on holiday with us.
I love it.
And I think at this time of year, it's almost ideal, isn't it? A bit of escape from the cold weather.
Absolutely.
Laura S. loves them too. What's your favourite bit of the vlog so far? I love seeing the dogs, and I love seeing Nadia at ease on a beach, and Nanny Di shuffling left to right throughout the house. It's quite fun.
I'm just reading. I'm not being weird. I'm just reading your comments. They're going up very fast.
Just watched Mark and Lisa dancing. Brilliant. Thanks, Susan Wilson. Do head
Deb
over.
Burns had a Snoopy soap on a rope.
Snoopy soap on a rope.
Do you remember soap on the ropes? What happened to them? Every Christmas you'd get a soap on a
It
rope.
was so you could hang them in a shower. Right?
Yeah.
I never had a shower.
But they'd get so old and cracked.
My first girlfriend, bought a cock soap on a rope.
Oh, Mark. Do you really think people didn't hear that?
Did you hear that?
You're lying.
I'm not lying. I was so shocked. She's the same one who bought me a real heart.
Okay.
A real heart for
I
Valentine's.
wondered what the hell you were going to say.
Yeah. No one heard what I said.
What other shapes were there on a Snoopy?
We heard it.
What other
Linda
shapes
Marshall.
were there? I remember I had a lemon on a soap on a rope.
A lemon.
Yeah.
A lemon for a lemon.
Lemon for being a soap in the shape of a lemon on a rope. But it became a problem. Because it cracked and it looked so ugly, but I felt bad to throw it away. Mark, stop.
No one knew where it went. They will have a fishy on a little dishy.
They will have a fishy when the boat comes in. Dance to your mommy, dance to your daddy. Dance to your mommy, to your daddy dance.
You'll have a fishy
On a little dishy, when
the boat comes in.
So, what are we talking about today? That's enough warming up.
Yeah. Now, we talked about this in the week, and you were incredibly outpouring in your emotion and feelings for the Queen. Everyone, even if they weren't Republicans, are behind the Queen.
Even if they were Republicans.
Even if they were Republicans and anti-monarchy, they were 100% behind the Queen.
I think there's very few, other royals, lesser royals, I think most people are Marmite. All of them are Marmite. But the Queen, there is something extremely special about the Queen. Lisa is absolutely dreading when the Queen goes. And Karen McGiffin, actually, she's obsessed with the Queen.
Is she, Carol?
Oh my God, she's a real royalist.
Oh,
and she
right.
loves the Queen so much.
Well, I'm not a royalist, and I'm really fond of the Queen. And so when I saw this news story, I was doing my workout, and I saw a news story break about Prince Edward delivering a message from the Queen to the Synod, which she normally goes to and does a talk.
So what is a synod?
The Synod is, I always thought it was like a synagogue, but
Yeah.
exactly. I always thought that, but I think it's a sort of it's like a collection of governors of the church. I think they're the sort of senior boffs of the church. And she normally goes to this, but she sent Prince Edward instead. It's the first time the monarch, who is supreme governor of the church, has missed her 5-yearly visit to the Synod in its 51-year history. And before the speech, Prince Edward read out that the Queen sent her sincere and deepest apologies that she couldn't be here today. But it's the bit a little bit later where the Queen also said, "None of us can slow the passage of time." And that while we often focus on all that has changed in the intervening years, much remains unchanged. Now, the Mail especially was reading a lot into this. None of us can slow the passage of time. And she also said it's hard to believe, but this came after her saying it's hard to believe that it's over 50 years since Prince Philip and I attended the very first meeting. She's connecting herself to her dear husband who's passed away. None of us can slow the passage. That does feel, off the back of mentioning Philip, like something. Yeah. What do you think, guys?
What do you think? Do you think the Mail are being...
What do you think?
Overzealous?
Are we reading too much into this?
Reading too much into it,
is people. Reading too much into it, Lewis Craig. Louise Gervin, the Synod is starting for the Catholic Church and it's been talked about loads. We've all got to gather opinions in parishes before the Pope is going to do a major reform. Okay. Right. Turtle, Charles getting his crown ready. I don't think he's necessarily... I mean, I know what you mean by that, and I'm sure you're being light-hearted, but do you think Charles... I don't think he wants to be king. He strikes me that he's not...
He'll have to be totally silenced once he's the king. Yeah. Whereas he has lots of things that he's very passionate about.
Yeah.
The responsibilities will increase massively. The visits that he does. What's the Queen, not visits, what's it called when Queen do when the Queen does?
Engagements.
Engagements. Why do you want to say that? I don't know how many engagements he does now. He might do more than the Queen.
Well, exactly.
They always say nobody matches the Queen's amount of engagements, though, don't they?
But I also think that, someone said on here the other day during the week, who would ask of their 95-year-old great-grandmother that they go out every day of the week and attend to people? And do things and shape people. We just wouldn't ask it. We wouldn't have asked that of Nan, would we? We wouldn't have taken her into town and then said, say hello to every single person you meet in Christchurch Priory.
I know.
And ask them how they are. We should keel over.
So there was no explanation as to why she wasn't there?
No, she's just unwell. I mean, she is unwell. She's unwell enough to not go. And she sent her apologies. She's 95. She's 95, guys. That's old. So yeah.
I'm sure all will become clear.
And I think the press are reading a lot into a lot of things.
We had weeks of this with Prince Philip, didn't we?
Yeah, we did.
I mean, our broadcasters are on high alert. There will be programs being made. There will be. Yeah. I mean, they're adjusting them on a weekly basis for all the royals have their films already, and it's very, very strict protocol when a royal dies.
Yeah. Jenny Ward, especially during a pandemic, not a place for a 95-year-old mingling with the public.
Exactly.
Turtle, apparently she injured her back. Yep, that's what they said for the cenotaph absence. The Creeber family, I think she's probably found the loss of Philip so hard, and at her age, I think it's taking its toll. I agree. Who will ever give such fantastic service to this country ever again?
Oh, look, they wrote
Not
a lovely
many
letter.
People, Gabrielle. Sorry?
It's like, we didn't finish the Creeber family. We wrote a letter after Philip's passing and received a lovely reply from her lady in waiting.
Wow, did you? Oh my God, that's amazing. Kathy Bell, not getting crown ready. Royals take it one day at a time. When it's time, they will let us know. That's a really interesting thing you say there, Kathy. The Royals do take things. When you look at them, they're very self-possessed. Obviously, they can be because they're monarchs or, royal highnesses and all that kind of stuff. But I reckon they do just take it day by day. And then when it happens, there will be sadness and mourning, and then they will move on to the next day. I mean, if only we could all learn from that. But I suppose it's easier.
But like you say, it's
easier done when you've got nothing to worry about. You haven't got life.
Well, I think she's got quite a lot to worry about.
Who?
Queen.
Oh, well, yes, no, I know. What with everything else?
We will find out the truth of that. Ghislaine Maxwell nears court.
Oh dear. Well, yeah.
Now I was fascinated by her.
That's an unfortunate segue for the Queen.
Yeah, I was fascinated by the interview that she did on Sunday in one of the Sunday papers, because I thought, will this really help her case? It seemed an odd choice.
Yeah.
She was basically totally slagging off the prison system in America. She says she had a resident rat, an open sewer toilet. She now, because she's watched 24/7 with the light on, she can't sleep. When she showers, she stopped showering now because there's creepy guards that watch her in the shower.
Right.
So it was a catalogue of complaints about it. I don't really know what that does for her.
Well, I tell you exactly what I think it's going to do for her. I think this is...
make things worse.
No, I think what they're doing is they're laying the groundwork for when she is found guilty of whatever she's found guilty of, they can labour the point that she's given some kind of better treatment come the other side of things. I really do think they're going to... I think a lot of what they're prepping for now isn't to just get her off. I think there's going to be an acceptance that she's going to go down for something. But I think this is part of the process of managing that on the far side.
Apparently her family have paid for an artist so she can be drawn in a better light than she has previous times that she went to court.
Is that true?
Well, that was in the article. I don't know whether it's true.
Well, no, but I mean, can you imagine the egomania of making sure you look better as you're told that you are guilty of...
I wonder why they did it, though. I don't know if anyone's watched any of that Channel 5 documentary series about
Yeah, I
her.
agree, someone.
And I actually know someone that knows Ghislaine, has met Ghislaine Maxwell many times. She's just very, very unlikable person. And this documentary series on Channel 5, the main contributor is somebody she went to Oxford with, and this woman is poisonous about her.
Right.
But you get the sense that this woman who was at Oxford with her was had her nose out of joint because she was very vivacious and all the men loved her. And she said, you know, I'd go up to her at parties and she would say hello and then immediately start looking for who else was there. And I have to say, as I was watching this documentary, I went, I'm not surprised, you're not very nice.
Right.
And I wonder if, because today the lawyers have been questioning the jury. They do this in a...
It's essentially
They give
an
them a
audition.
Yeah, it's an audition.
An audition
where they
for
have to
jurors.
fill out a questionnaire with their thoughts on different goings on in the world and finding out how well they know the story. I mean, there isn't a person on earth.
Well, no. There was one. I was reading. One member of the jury hasn't heard of her or Epstein. Kim Lakides, by the way, is asking who is Ghislaine Maxwell. Ghislaine Maxwell is the daughter of Robert Maxwell, who used to be the editor of the Mirror. He was like a Rupert Murdoch character.
The owner of the Mirror.
The owner of the Mirror. He
Very rich socialite.
died in odd circumstances, but he was up to all sorts of corruption
He was an
and what have you.
absolute brute of a man.
But then
brutish.
Ghislaine
But she was
Maxwell,
obsessed with him.
Ghislaine Maxwell got hooked up with Epstein, who obviously was the convicted paedophile and sex offender and sex trafficker, who allegedly killed himself in prison a couple of years ago.
There are lots of
and she's
suspicions
seen
on
as his right-hand woman or
that
wing
she
woman.
brought young girls to him from as young as 14, that she was there for a lot of the abuse, that she almost groomed them to get to a place where they would be alone with him in a room. There's, you know, a lot of accusations coming her way. I mean, they could they not win on the fact that she cannot have a fair trial, because there isn't a person in the world that's heard of them that doesn't think, well, she's guilty.
Well, one of the members of the jury hasn't heard of her or Epstein. One has heard of Epstein but not heard of her. But then what kind of alarmed me a bit was in the process of auditioning the jury, or the jurors, lots of kind of hijinks and laughter and chitter was happening about cop shows, and one of them was like, yes, I've watched Law and Order, so I thought it all seemed utterly inappropriate, you know, relating to the actual crimes that she's going to be sentenced for.
They're trying to find out what sort of people they are to see whether there might be somebody...
But get this, in the audition, she sits in front of them.
Yeah.
She
has to sit there, and then they quantify how much people like her or not, and she came very low on
they're really worried. They're really worried.
Yeah.
And apparently her legal team are putting in for like multiple auditions for multiple juries because
until they find somebody
that likes her. How weird is that? Trying to find someone who likes her.
It's interesting though, isn't it? Because, I mean, I happen to think that she's guilty.
Vanessa Wilde, based on OJ, anything could happen.
Anything could happen. But to have a fair trial, you should have a jury that isn't biased. And if all the jury just don't like her from the look of her, that's not going to be a fair trial.
No, it's not. I just can't even fathom the idea that you audition until you get the right jury that you want.
No, I don't think they can keep going on forever. I think they get a couple of goes, and out of that, they choose the best ones.
Sophie R says the show Bull is all about jury selection in the USA. So eye-opening. But yeah, you're right. But they did it in the O.J. Simpson
We don't do it in
trial.
any way here, do we?
No,
It's just 12 good men and women.
Yeah. But it was done in the O.J., wasn't it? They kept trying to, manage and manipulate the. Robert James, you guys are mostly great, but if you think Epstein killed himself, I stress the word allegedly.
I don't think he did.
Allegedly means that I don't necessarily think he did kill himself. So, Robert, I'm kind of on the same page, I think. I think each side gets so many picks. That's right. So each side does get to pick their own jurors.
So,
but when
do
that
you
gets
think
going,
when you right in this country, you wouldn't be. You'll notice with the news and the papers, as soon as somebody is caught, that's it. Shush. You don't mention it. You're not allowed to, talk about the case. You're not allowed to insinuate or pontificate in any way because you could ruin the case.
I don't understand how that's
But
sort of
in
flown out the
America,
window with this.
There's every documentary bit. There's multiple series. I mean, this series the other day that I watched with Channel 5, on Channel 5, a couple episodes, was an absolute hatchet job on the woman. So I suspect she might get off on not being able to have a fair case.
Well, yes,
Fair
but then
time in
how do
court.
you square publicity, the public knowing stuff, having a fair trial, and then the fact that in America they televise them all? It seems
But
perverse.
maybe, yeah.
Maybe, because it's
But if she was here, they would be thrown out of court. She couldn't have a fair trial.
Absolutely.
Because everybody's already made up their mind.
Does anyone know if it's going to be televised? Is it going to be televised? Was the Harvey Weinstein televised?
God, that would be fascinating.
If it
to
is
watch.
televised, that would be astonishing. I mean, I guess they'll have cameras in there to film it. So Ghislaine nears court, jury selection happening. Obviously, when that happens, it's going to be a feeding frenzy, isn't it, for the media? We're going to be reading into every single little thing.
Kimberly Jones says, do you think she will actually get to testify at all with all the names she could name?
Wow.
Because, I mean,
Yeah.
Trump's included in her list of potential...
I'd be fascinated. Well, this is one of the things that her legal team are pushing for. Because she's so unliked by the juries, or jurors thus far that they've met, there's a sort of onus on them to try and seek a plea deal of some sort. Now, if they do go for a plea deal, it will probably be only in terms of throwing a light on all the other people that she can throw under the bus. So if she knows for a fact, and if her legal team advise her and say, look, you don't stand a chance in hell out there, everyone fucking hates you, then they'll go in for a plea bargain, I think.
Well, yeah. And they had, a while back, they had, I don't know what all the names are of these legal people in America, but whoever this person was very important within the legal system. He said, you've got to all face the fact that she might get off with it, because if we can let one really bad person go to get 20 or 30 really bad people, we will do it.
Yeah.
So if she offers up those names, which she does have her little black book, but the problem is she's vehemently denying that she did anything. But I suppose that doesn't stop her from saying anything about anybody else. She could say all of them did, but I didn't.
Well, no, we didn't, Claire. We didn't, sweetheart. Sorry. Get a card. What's happening with Andrew in this? Does he need to testify? Good question. I don't know. It depends on what she says.
Andrew came out of Windsor today for the first time.
Did he? Did he? So that's Ghislaine Maxwell.
And Kerry J. Williams, 312 hours to go till Vlogmas.
312 hours?
That's so sweet.
Oh, my Lord.
Get editing, Mark.
So I just wanted to bring this story up just because it's so awful what's happened to this cricketer, Azim Rafiq,
heartbreaking.
with the Yorkshire cricket team and the Yorkshire Cricket Board. And it's
Can
just
you say that?
And it's just it's just awful that the racism he's experienced. And something that I think is really important in this story is that, it was talked about by, I forget the name of the radio presenter, but let's suffice it to say, when I say the P word, we know what the P word means. We're not going to say it because it's so offensive. But I think it's taken this story, I think this story is really important, and this is about a Yorkshire cricketer who throughout his career has been subjected to extreme and extraordinary verbal and sometimes physical racial abuse. from teammates and the
You have
director
to
of the
watch
cricket
his
at Yorkshire. And
testament. It's really his testimony. It really was hard.
I mean, when he was young, he had wine sort of forcibly poured down his throat. He was insulted and ripped to shreds when
not allowed to pray.
when
Said you can't
his
do it
baby
here.
died.
It's embarrassing.
And the P term was used an awful lot against him. And I just think it's really important that we recognise that the P word is as bad as the N word that has been, rightly kind of castigated, criticised, and just put in the sin bin. Because it always felt like for many years, because my nan used the P word and I always hated it when she used it. But there was kind of like an assumption that was all right, but the other one wasn't all right. And actually, it's not all right. It's not all right at all. And I just think this story is really important for the Asian community in this country, the Indian in this country, that they have a high-profile case like this, where the Yorkshire cricket team. Let's face it, the Yorkshire cricket team hasn't particularly ingratiated the country in the past. Think of Geoffrey Boycott. He was both a racist and a misogynist, wasn't he? So I just think it's a really key moment and a really important moment for
and it's actually
race
incredibly
politics.
brave what he's done. He said, I lost
brave.
my career, and over the last 15 months, my children have lost their father because I've been in such a state about how I could get ripped to shreds from talking about this. He's incredibly brave.
Incredibly brave. He said things like pretty early on in his career, other people, him and other people from an Asian background were told, you'll sit over there near the toilets, elephant washers. I can't quite comprehend
So the P word was used constantly, and there just seemed to be an acceptance in the institution from the leaders, and no one ever stamped it out.
Yeah. And so he just wants it, recognised, stamped out, some kind of acknowledgement. I don't even think he wants sort of any form of direct retribution, as in firing, sackings, or anything like that. He just wants it to be known. He wants it to be corrected. And
he wants to think about the future.
Prince Harry used the P word, Lucy Heaney. Yeah, it's one of those words that, it's not as bad. It's almost a term of affection. Well, it isn't. It isn't, and it never has been. So I think, can we just give a round of applause to Azim Rafiq? I love cricket. And there's footage of him crying at the Commons Digital Culture, Media and Sport Select Committee today. And it's a story that's been running everywhere, and we haven't really touched upon it. So, awful. And so after that, you've got a mother-in-law story, Nad.
This is awful, this story.
Mother-in-laws, grandmothers.
Yeah, this story comes from actually the mother of a beautiful little baby girl. I'm just looking at her now.
Thanks, Orange.
Who was told by her mother-in-law that she told her mother that she no longer wants her to visit the family following toxic comments about her daughter's appearance. So she's quite a one. The child is ginger. And so the grandmother was constantly making jokes in front of the baby about how you're going to have to shave her hair one day, how you're going to have to dye her hair, and then eventually turned up with a wig with dark hair to see how it would look. And have to shave her hair off of the curls. I'm going to have this wig. And apparently she had been exactly the same with her son, this woman's father, and he grew up with real issues, as you would.
Calling him ugly and everything.
Calling him ugly and everything. Now, this is quite an extreme case.
Yeah.
But I do think we have to pull up the older generation when they talk in the way that they used to about babies and young children, because that's where the rot sets in. There was a lot of that when I was growing up, not from my mum and dad, but from my extended family, only talking about the way that we looked the time.
It's a different generation.
And we start with girls right from when they're tiny. Babies. Oh, she's going to be a big one. Oh, look at those. Oh, dear, let's hope those lips full. And it goes in. I believe it goes into a baby. It's the beginning of that negative, stinking thinking.
Oh, it does.
And I think we have to call it out.
Tony Dunsford, how can an older generation change? I mean, that's an interesting question. I would argue that it's our responsibility as we get older to not just lean on the idea that we become fixed in our ways or set in our ways. I mean, it's something that's really tough to manage. It's like my mum said to me years ago, when I start to do this like Nanny Thelma, for God's sake, tell me. And, you know, we're talking about low-level stuff here, but when I tell my mum, Nan, mum, if you're watching, you know, you would agree with this, there's resistance because, of course, no one wants to feel that they've gone there. So it's not necessarily resistance because you want to be an awful person, but you don't actually want to acknowledge that you've kind of you've passed a certain point. So that's why we've put toxic grandparents in the headline. Does anyone here have what they could describe as toxic grandparents or in-laws?
My grandmother, Elsa Pop, used to ask me how much I weighed. Then when I told her, she would say, yeah, and the rest. That's exactly the sort of thing I'm talking about. And we shouldn't just let people off because they were old. And I think for us as parents, it's about just gently taking them to one side and saying, listen, we're in a different time now.
Yeah.
That sort of chat
there's a fair few
does cause huge problems
Yeah.
for people as they're growing up.
Can I just read? This has struck a bit of a nerve. Look, Amy May. I used to cry myself to sleep about my grandparents on my dad's side because they've never supported me and anything I've done has never been good enough for them. It's interesting. I mean, my grandparents loved me a lot, but they never understood what made me tick at all.
And if you've been a bad parent, you don't suddenly grow into a great grandparent.
No.
We know there's loads of bad parents, so why would we wonder about, you know, grandparents?
Oh, Nicola Randall, my nan and granddad learnt to change their language. I used to gently guide them. That's nice.
Well, you know what? It's the same with my girls. Some of the things that they insist I mustn't think and I mustn't say and I try to push against it. But I always have a good chat with them now and they've taught me a lot about a lot of things. And that's what we can do. We have to learn from, you know, generations have to swap their knowledge, don't they? And I think that's how we have to see it. That's why I would say, just gently say, listen, it was definitely all right to do that when you were a kid. But what I've learned is that actually this stuff carries through.
Yeah.
So I prefer it if you didn't say that to them.
Yeah. MeTube, nope, fortunately the grand people in our family have always been quite woke. Neve, Ed, my nana's got better as she's got older. Once upon a time, calling her out would get her back up because she didn't understand. Now, with TV and the internet, she's seen the reasons to change. You see, I do believe that. I think if we think that change isn't possible after a certain age, we may as well just, you know, close up shop and go home because life is about, you know, even at an old age, I hope we're surrounded by grandchildren or young people constantly informing. It doesn't mean everything young people say is right. Doesn't mean that as an old person you have to sacrifice all your values, but I do think we can change. I do think there's flexibility in old age.
I love this from Noura S. We have become far too obsessed with looks. There's a beautiful saying in Persian that translates to a beautiful eye sees beauty in everyone.
That's nice.
That's lovely.
That is nice.
Rachel Keeler, did you watch the Dr. Alex documentary on children's mental health? No, we haven't. But we are going to. Our friend of ours who's going through a really shit time at the moment with her daughter's mental health, said she sat and just wept watching it because it was her story completely and her. So we are definitely going to watch it as mental health advocates.
Absolutely.
And if we think it's right, we might try and do Confessions of a Modern Parent on it.
Okay. Well, should we end with a really sweet story?
Yeah.
This is the emotional golden retriever. An emotional golden retriever melts and is overwhelmed with emotion after seeing puppies for the very first time in an adorable video. So I was going to, obviously that kind of triggers the idea that we should see the video. Where is it? Is it right at the top here? Oh, here we go. Let me just turn the sound off. See the video. Oh, is that it? Oh, it's playing. That's very unusual that it plays straight away. Do you want to see this?
I usually have to go through so much.
Let me turn you round, guys. Turning you round. There we go. So let's... This is her seeing her puppies for the first time.
Now, are they hers? I thought they were adopted.
I don't know.
I think they're adopted
are they?
because I think it's a boy.
Oh.
And he's done the same with rabbits.
Oh.
And these rabbits are like puppies from follow him everywhere. They share his food. They share food with him. He's got his own YouTube channel. This dog. Look at that.
Oh, look. Having a good old sniff.
Look at those puppies.
Oh my God. Oh, look, he just wants to get
smiling, look.
Oh, so sweet.
Isn't that the cutest thing?
So sweet.
So, yes, Retriever Bailey has his own YouTube channel. This is Bailey. And his reaction seeing a litter of puppies. Got 18 million views, that did.
Wow.
18 million views.
Oh, special delivery for him. Oh, they're tiny stray dogs.
Yeah,
Oh.
because he did the same with some rabbits.
Oh.
And the rabbits, he was so sweet with the rabbits, and they shared their food.
Do you want to share the remarkable coincidence today?
No, because it's coming up in the vlog.
Oh, okay, well, that's why I asked. That's
We had
good
a
job.
really amazing coincidence
today.
today that you'll see in the
Yeah.
very first
Vlogmas.
Vlogmas.
Okay, guys. Well, you've got a Cornish vlog which has already landed, so that will probably trigger up now as a clip. Go and watch that. I hope. Oh, we've got a welcome to do. Jeanette Nash.
Welcome, Jeanette Nash. Welcome, Jeanette.
Nash.
Welcome, Jeanette Nash. Welcome.
Jeanette Nash.
Welcome to the VIP.
Hola.
Howdy-ha, howdy-ha, howdy-ha. Oh, you're good tonight.
I'm not bad, am I?
We were.
Oh, sorry. I thought you said me. I thought you said I.
Don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell so you never miss us. Because we're here every goddamn day.
So I'm now going to go and I'm going to go and scrub something. So I hope you have a lovely evening, everyone.